Lieutenant Maya Reeves stood in the center of the Grand Council chamber, hands bound with energy restraints that hummed annoyingly against her wrists. Above her, arranged in a perfect circle like some kind of cosmic jury box, sat representatives from 17 different species. Each one looked more ridiculous than the last. The Quarian ambassador, a being that resembled a particularly judgmental jellyfish, pulsed with self-righteous bioluminescence. The Hrakan delegate clicked his mandibles in what Maya assumed was supposed to be intimidating, and the Cephian matriarch, draped in ceremonial robes that probably cost more than Maya's entire ship, glared down with all 6 of her eyes. Really committing to the whole "we're very important" aesthetic, Maya thought, suppressing an eye roll. "Lieutenant Maya Reeves," the matriarch intoned, her voice amplified to echo dramatically through the chamber. Of course it echoes. "You stand accused of the highest crime against the Galactic Concordat: treason, reckless endangerment, and unauthorized activation of a Class Omega human relic." Maya opened her mouth to point out that unauthorized was a strong word for finding something in an abandoned sector that nobody else wanted to explore. But the matriarch held up a crystalline hand. "The evidence is irrefutable. 3 months ago, you discovered artifact designation HR 2847 during an illegal salvage operation in the Forbidden Zones. Rather than report this discovery, you attempted to activate it." "I touched it," Maya corrected. "There's a difference between attempting to activate something and accidentally—" "Silence." The word boomed through the chamber with enough force that Maya felt it in her teeth. She sighed. This was going exactly as well as she'd expected. The truth was simpler than they were making it sound. She'd been running a legitimate salvage contract when her scanner picked up something that shouldn't exist. A power signature in a dead system that had been quarantined for 10,000 years. She'd gone to investigate, found a perfectly ordinary black cube floating in the wreckage of what looked like an ancient human station, and when she'd gone to secure it, the damn thing had lit up like a Christmas tree. Then the Council's patrol fleet had shown up, accused her of trying to weaponize forbidden technology, and hauled her here for what they were generously calling a trial. More like a show, Maya thought, watching the Council members whisper among themselves with exaggerated urgency. The Hrakan delegate rose, his exoskeleton gleaming. "The human relics are forbidden for a reason. Your ancestors nearly destroyed the galaxy with their reckless warfare. We cannot allow—" "My ancestors have been dead for 10 millennia, Maya interrupted, her patience finally wearing thin. "I think whatever they did, the statute of limitations has expired." The chamber erupted in offended clicks, whistles, and bioluminescent flashing. The matriarch struck her gavel, an actual gavel because apparently theatricality was universal. "The Council has deliberated. Lieutenant Maya Reeves, you are hereby sentenced to immediate execution. Your body will be disposed of in accordance with human customs and the relic will be destroyed. May the Concordat find peace in your silence." Maya blinked, then blinked again. "Wait, seriously? Execution? That seems a bit excessive for touching a box." But the guards were already moving forward, their weapons humming to life. The matriarch looked down at her with something almost like regret. "We cannot risk another human awakening, Lieutenant. Not after what the Vex cost us. The decision is final." As the guards grabbed her arms, Maya felt a chill that had nothing to do with the chamber's temperature. The Vex. Now there was a name she hadn't expected to hear, the ancient enemy that humanity had supposedly driven back into the dark corners of space, right before humanity itself had mysteriously vanished from the galactic stage. So that's what this is really about, she realized. They're not afraid of me. They're afraid of what I might wake up. Too bad for them. She had a feeling it was already too late for that. The vault was exactly the kind of place you'd store something you were terrified of. Deep underground, behind 7 different security checkpoints, and surrounded by enough weapons to atomize a small moon. Maya could practically taste the paranoia in the recycled air. The guards led her down a corridor lined with transparent containment cells, each one holding artifacts that made her archaeological heart ache. Ancient weapons, data cores, even what looked like a human entertainment system, all locked away like ticking bombs. At the end of the corridor sat the cube. It rested on a pedestal in the center of a spherical chamber surrounded by targeting lasers and dampening fields. In the harsh white light, it looked almost disappointingly mundane. Just a black cube, about 30 centimeters per side, with faint lines etched across its surface. The matriarch swept into the chamber behind Maya, followed by what looked like half the council. Apparently executing someone next to a forbidden artifact warranted an audience. "We will perform the execution here," the matriarch announced. "As a reminder of the price of hubris, let the relic bear witness to the fate of those who disturb humanity's corpse." "Wow," Maya said. "You guys really commit to the drama, don't you? I'm surprised there's no dramatic music." The Quarian ambassador pulsed angrily. "You face death with mockery? I face death with honesty. There's a difference." Maya glanced at the cube. "Besides, you're going to shoot me and then blow up that thing, right? Seems pretty straightforward. Don't need to dress it up with speeches." The Hrakan delegate clicked forward, examining a datapad. "The human execution methods on record are quite disturbing. Lethal injection, electrocution, something called a firing squad." "Just shoot me," Maya interrupted. "With your regular guns, I'm not picky." "We have prepared a neural disintegrator," the matriarch said, as if offering a gift. "It will be painless and instantaneous. We are not monsters." Just cowards, Maya thought, but kept that observation to herself. 2 guards positioned her directly in front of the cube, close enough that she could see her reflection in its dark surface. Another guard brought forward the disintegrator, a nasty-looking device that hummed with barely contained energy. The matriarch raised her hand. "Does the condemned have any final words?" Maya looked at the cube, then at the assembled council members with their weapons and their fear. She thought about humanity, scattered to dust 10,000 years ago. She thought about all the relics locked in vaults like this one, treated like sins instead of memories. "Yeah," she said, "you're all idiots." The matriarch's eyes narrowed. "Proceed." As the guard raised the disintegrator, Maya shifted her weight and deliberately stumbled backward. Her shoulder struck the cube's pedestal, and her bound hands brushed against its surface. The effect was instantaneous. Light erupted from the cube, not the harsh white of the vault's illumination, but a warm golden glow that seemed to carry weight and presence. The dampening field shrieked and shattered. Targeting lasers sparked and died, and Maya felt something surge through her like being hit with a wave of pure recognition. The cube unfolded. It was the only way to describe it. The surface split along those faint lines, each section moving with mechanical precision, expanding outward and upward until it formed a structure 3 times its original size. Holographic displays materialized in the air around it, covered in text that Maya's translator implant couldn't process. Because it wasn't alien text. It was English. Ancient, formal English, but readable. A voice emerged from the structure, male and warm, with an accent Maya had only heard in historical recordings. "Biometric scan complete. DNA confirmed. Homo sapiens, 99.7% baseline. Neural pattern consistent with human cognitive architecture. Clearance authorization recognized." The matriarch stumbled backward. What is happening?" The voice continued, ignoring her. "Identity confirmed. Maya Reeves, Lieutenant Salvage Corps. Descendant markers match Protector Protocol parameters. Activating Omega-level clearance." Maya stared at the holographic displays, her mind racing. "Protector Protocol?" "Affirmative." The cube, no, the AI, because that's clearly what it was, pulsed with light. "This unit is Defensive System HR-2847, colloquially designated Guardian. You are hereby recognized as Protector, granted full authority over human defensive assets and strategic weapons platforms." The chamber fell silent except for the hum of energy. Then chaos erupted. "Shut it down!" the Hrakan delegate screamed. "Shut it down now!" Guards rushed forward, weapons raised, but before they could fire, the cube pulsed once more. A barrier materialized around Maya, a shimmering field of golden light that felt solid as steel. Weapons fire splashed harmlessly against it. The AI spoke again, and this time there was something almost amused in its tone. Hostile action detected against designated protector. Initiating defensive countermeasures. Please stand back. The weapons in the guard's hands sparked and died, their power cells drained in an instant. Maya looked down at her hands, now free from their restraints. The energy cuffs had simply dissolved. She looked at the panicking council members. She looked at the cube, which had just declared her humanity's champion. "Well," she said, a grin spreading across her face. "This is unexpected." The matriarch's crystalline face had gone from its usual pale blue to something approaching purple. Maya wasn't sure if that indicated rage, fear, or possibly a stroke. With aliens, you could never tell. This cannot be." The matriarch gestured frantically at her guards, who were staring at their dead weapons like betrayed children. "Reactivate your armaments, contain the artifact." "I'm afraid that won't be possible, ma'am," the AI said politely. "All weapon systems within a 50-meter radius are now under my administrative control. For the protector's safety, you understand." Maya crossed her arms, enjoying the protective barrier thrumming around her. "So, anyone want to revisit that whole execution thing? I'm open to apologies." The Quarian ambassador pulsed erratically. "This is a catastrophe. The human relics were supposed to be dormant, inert." "Clearly not this one," Maya said. She turned to the cube, to Guardian. "Hey, can I call you something shorter than Defensive System HR 22847? That's a mouthful." "You may designate me as you wish, Protector." "Right. You sound like my grandfather. I'm calling you Grandpa." Several council members made choking sounds. The AI, Grandpa, seemed to consider this acceptable. "My previous protector called me Gideon, but I find your designation nostalgic." Maya felt a pang at that. Previous protector. Someone 10,000 years dead probably who'd trusted this AI with their life. She pushed the thought aside and focused on the current crisis. Specifically, the 17 aliens who'd just tried to execute her and were now realizing they had made a catastrophic mistake. The Hurakan delegate stepped forward, mandibles clicking nervously. "Lieutenant Reeves, perhaps we were hasty. The charges against you were based on incomplete information. You sentenced me to death. A procedural error. You called me a traitor to the galaxy. A miscommunication. You were going to blow up this relic after shooting me in the head." The delegate's mandibles clicked faster. A symbolic gesture that may have been excessive in retrospect. Maya turned to Grandpa. "Are you recording this?" "Every word, Protector. I've also taken the liberty of broadcasting this encounter to 17 different news networks across the Concordat. Current viewership is approximately 43 billion and climbing." The matriarch made a sound like shattering glass. "You're what?" "Transparency is essential for diplomatic relations," Grandpa said serenely. "The galaxy deserves to know how the Council treats humanity's legacy." Maya couldn't help it. She laughed. It echoed through the vault, and she saw several council members flinch. "Okay, Grandpa, I like your style." She turned back to the council, her amusement fading. "You want to know why I'm really here? Why I found this relic?" She didn't wait for an answer. 3 months ago, I was running a salvage contract in Sector 447, standard debris field looking for scrap metal. But my sensors picked up something weird, a power signature that shouldn't exist, so I followed it. The memory surfaced sharp and clear. The dead system, the floating wreckage of an ancient station, the cube drifting in the dark like a message in a bottle. I found an old human station, 10,000 years old, give or take. It was torn apart like something had ripped through it, and in the middle of all that destruction I found this. She gestured at Grandpa, just floating there, waiting. "Waiting for what?" the Quarian asked. Maya met its luminescent gaze. "For someone to wake it up, because whatever humanity was fighting when they disappeared, it's still out there, and you all knew it." The silence that followed was damning. The matriarch's 6 eyes couldn't seem to focus. "We don't know what you're implying." "Grandpa," Maya said. What were you protecting humanity from? The Vex Swarm Protector, an extragalactic collective intelligence that sought to consume all organic life. Humanity fought them for 300 years before developing technology capable of pushing them back. I was one of 17,000 Guardian units deployed to defend human territories and allied species. Allied species, Maya repeated, looking at the council. That include anyone here? The matriarch said nothing. The Vex War ended in 12,847 BCE by current galactic calendar, Grandpa continued. Humanity disappeared shortly thereafter, though records from that period are fragmentary. I was left in standby mode with a single directive. Protect humanity's descendants should they ever return and guard against Vex resurgence. Maya felt the pieces clicking together. You didn't want me dead because I found a relic. You wanted me dead because I found a relic that could tell everyone what you've been hiding. The Hrakan delegate's exoskeleton rattled. You don't understand. The Vex are a galaxy-ending threat. We've kept humanity's technology locked away because we cannot afford another war. So you'd rather leave the galaxy defenseless and hope the Vex never come back? Maya's voice rose. That's your plan? Hide and pray? We are not defenseless. Grandpa, how does the Council's fleet compare to the Vex? Their current military technology would provide approximately 17 minutes of resistance against a minor Vex scouting force. The council members erupted in protests, but Maya just smiled grimly. You're not afraid of human relics. You're afraid of being reminded how outmatched you are. She turned to Grandpa. What can you do? What are these defensive assets I supposedly have authority over? My current operational capacity is limited as I've been inactive for 10,000 years. However, I can access the Human Defense Network, activate dormant Guardian units, and provide strategic coordination. Full capabilities include energy shielding, weapon systems ranging from kinetic to directed energy, faster-than-light communication arrays, and command authority over all human military installations that remain functional. And how many of those installations still exist? Scanning, please wait. The holographic displays around Grandpa shifted, showing a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Slowly, points of light began appearing, first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Current scan complete. I detect 3,847 Guardian units in standby mode, 284 weapons platforms, and 17 major defense stations. All are currently dormant but can be reactivated with protector authorization. The council chamber might have been silent if not for the sound of the matriarch's breathing, which sounded distinctly panicked. Maya whistled softly. Humanity really didn't mess around, did they? We learned early that it's better to have overwhelming force and never need it, Grandpa said, than to need it and not have it. The Quarian ambassador pulsed weakly. Lieutenant Reeves, we can come to an arrangement. The council can offer you. Alarms shrieked through the vault. Red emergency lights flooded the chamber, and Grandpa's calm voice cut through the chaos. Protector, we have a problem. Vex signatures detected. They're here. The holographic displays shifted, showing a real-time feed of the space above the council's capital world. Maya's stomach dropped. Ships emerged from what looked like tiers in reality itself. Wrong angles and impossible geometries that hurt to look at. They were massive, organic-looking things, all twisted metal and pulsing biomechanical components. As Maya watched, more kept coming, dozens of them bleeding into normal space like an infection. How many? She asked, her voice steady despite the ice in her veins. Current count: 47 capital ships, unknown number of support craft. Classification: Vex Swarm Assault Fleet. Threat level: Extinction event. The council members were in full panic mode now. The Hrakan delegate was screaming into a communicator. The Quarian had gone nearly transparent with fear, and the matriarch stood frozen, staring at the display. Maya turned on her. How long have you known they were coming back? The matriarch's 6 eyes finally focused. 2 years. We detected scout ships in the outer sectors. We hoped they were isolated incidents. Remnants. Her voice cracked. We tried to expand our fleet, develop new weapons, but nothing worked. Every simulation showed the same result: total annihilation. So you decided to destroy humanity's defenses instead of using them. We were afraid, the matriarch shouted. Afraid of what would happen if we woke the human war machines. Your ancestors' technology was as terrifying as the Vex themselves. The last time both forces clashed, entire star systems were rendered uninhabitable. Maya wanted to scream at the sheer stupidity of it, but Grandpa's voice cut through her anger. Protector, the Vex are hailing the planet. They're demanding surrender. Put it through. A new display materialized, and Maya immediately wished it hadn't. The Vex spokesperson, if it could be called that, was a nightmare of flesh and metal. What might have once been multiple different species had been fused together into a single writhing mass, augmented with technology that pulsed like infected wounds. When it spoke, the voice came from a dozen mouths at once, overlapping and discordant. Attention, concordate species, you will submit to integration. Resistance is inefficient. You have one rotation to comply. The transmission cut off. Maya looked at the council members who seemed barely capable of standing. Tell me the truth, she said quietly. Is this why you sentenced me to death? Because you knew the Vex were coming, and you didn't want anyone finding weapons that could fight back? The matriarch's shoulders sagged. We thought, if the Vex didn't detect any active human technology, they might pass us by. That they were only returning to finish what they started with humanity. So you were going to sacrifice humanity's legacy to save your own skins. We were trying to save the galaxy. By doing nothing? Maya's voice rose. By hiding? By destroying the only things that could help? Your weapons are 10,000 years old, the Hurakan delegate snapped. What good are ancient relics against a force like that? Maya turned to Grandpa. How old are you? 10,247 years by current calendar. And how's your hardware holding up? All primary systems are functional. I am operating at 97% efficiency. Human engineering standards prioritize longevity and adaptability. I am, as they used to say, good for another 10 millennia. Maya faced the council again, and this time she let them see the steel in her eyes. Here's what's going to happen. Grandpa, show me what happened the last time humanity fought the Vex. Are you certain, Protector? The records are intense. Show me. The vault dissolved. Maya found herself standing on a battlefield that shouldn't exist. Space itself seemed wounded, torn open by weapons that made physics scream. She saw human ships, sleek, purposeful, beautiful in their lethality, engaging Vex vessels in a dance of annihilation. She saw Guardian units like Grandpa, thousands of them, forming defensive spheres around populated worlds. And she saw humanity fighting with the kind of desperate, creative fury that only her species seemed capable of. They won not through overwhelming force, though they had that. They won through adaptation, through turning the Vex's own biology against them, through weapons that evolved faster than the swarm could respond. The vision showed humanity's final assault. A coordinated strike across 17 sectors simultaneously, pushing the Vex back through their dimensional tiers and sealing the rifts behind them. Then the vision ended. Maya stood in the vault again, breathing hard. The council members were staring at her with something approaching awe. That's what your ancestors were capable of, Grandpa said softly. They gave everything to protect not just humanity but every organic species in the galaxy. And when the war ended, they didn't conquer. They didn't demand tribute. They just left. Why? Maya asked. Why disappear after all that? I don't know, Protector. My memories from that period are corrupted. But I know they left us behind as guardians just in case the Vex ever returned. Grandpa paused. They have returned. And now the choice falls to you. Maya looked at the council members, at their fear and their shame. The full defense protocol, she said. What does it require? Your authorization to activate all dormant Guardian units and defensive installations, full integration with the defense network, and your consent to serve as Protector until the threat is eliminated. The matriarch stepped forward. Lieutenant Reeves, Maya, if you activate those systems, You'll be declaring war on behalf of a species that no longer exists. The Vex will not show mercy. They will come for you with everything they have." Maya smiled, and it wasn't a kind expression. "Good. I'd hate for them to half-ass it." She turned to Grandpa. "Activate the protocol, all of it. Light up every Guardian unit in the galaxy, and get me a channel to that Vex fleet." "As you command, Protector." The cube pulsed with golden light, and across the galaxy, 10,000 years of sleep came to an end. The transformation was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure. Grandpa unfolded completely, his core splitting into dozens of interlocking components that swirled around Maya like a mechanical storm. She felt energy coursing through her, the protective barrier expanding and solidifying into something far more substantial. Armor materialized across her body, not clunky plating but something organic, flowing, that moved with her like a second skin. It was black as space, traced with golden lines that pulsed with power. A helmet formed around her head and suddenly her vision expanded. She could see in multiple spectrums, could feel the movement of ships in orbit, could sense the trembling fear of the council members behind her. "Neural link established." Grandpa's voice echoed in her mind, clearer than ever. "Full protector integration complete. How do you feel?" Maya flexed her hands, watching energy dance between her fingers. "Like I could punch through a starship." "You can. Please don't demonstrate on the council chambers." Despite everything, Maya laughed. "No promises. Now get me that channel." The holographic display shifted, showing the Vex fleet in orbit. This time, when Maya spoke, her voice was amplified across every communication frequency in the system. "Attention, Vex Swarm. This is Lieutenant Maya Reeves, designated protector of humanity's legacy. You've made a critical error in judgment." The response came immediately, that horrible chorus of voices. "Human, descendant, detected. Irrelevant, your species is extinct, submit." "See, that's where you're wrong. My species left something behind. They left guardians, they left weapons, and they left me." Maya nodded to Grandpa. Across the galaxy, Guardian units came online. Defense stations powered up. Weapons platforms that had slept for 10,000 years opened their eyes and remembered their purpose. And every single one of them transmitted a simple message. Protector recognized, awaiting orders. The Vex fleet hesitated. Maya saw it in their formation, the way they paused mid-approach. "The Council has surrendered command of their defense fleet to me," Maya continued, glancing at the matriarch, who looked too shocked to protest. "Consider this your only warning. Leave this system now, or I'll remind you why you ran the first time. Human, technology, outdated, primitive. You cannot stop the swarm." "Grandpa, show them how outdated we are. Target their flagship." In orbit, a weapons platform activated. A massive ring structure that had been mistaken for an ancient space station. Energy gathered at its core, building to impossible levels, and fired. The beam was pure white, and it crossed the distance between the platform and the Vex flagship in a fraction of a second. The ship's shields, powerful enough to shrug off everything the Council's fleet could throw at it, lasted approximately 3 seconds. Then the beam punched through the hull, through the ship's entire length, and out the other side. The flagship broke apart like a toy. "One down," Maya said. "Would you like to leave now, or should I continue the demonstration?" The Vex fleet's response was immediate and predictable. They attacked. Dozens of ships surged forward, their weapons blazing. The Council's orbital defenses, already battered from previous skirmishes, began to fail immediately. Maya sighed. "Right, the hard way it is. Grandpa, I'm assuming this armor isn't just for show. The protector suit includes full combat capabilities, faster than light mobility, and enough firepower to engage capital ships in single combat. I should note that your predecessor used it to personally board and destroy 47 Vex vessels in one engagement. Sounds like they were showing off. They were also clinically insane. I recommend a more measured approach." "Where's the fun in that?" Maya grinned inside her helmet. "Get me to that fleet, and someone needs to coordinate the Council's ships. Can you handle that?" "Already done. I've uploaded tactical packages to every vessel in range. They're not happy about taking orders from a human AI, but they're following them. Good enough, let's go to work. The armor flared, and Maya shot upward through the vault ceiling like a missile. Rock and metal parted around her protective barrier, and then she was in the air, then in the thin atmosphere, then in the black of space. The Vex fleet sprawled before her, and for a moment Maya felt the weight of what she was about to do. Then she thought about humanity, about what they'd sacrificed to protect the galaxy, about the Council's cowardice and fear. And she dove into the battle. The first Vex ship didn't even see her coming. Maya slammed into its hull at relativistic speeds, her armor shields carving through metal like paper. She felt Grandpa guiding her movements, highlighting weak points, suggesting attack vectors. Her right hand transformed, energy coalescing into a blade that burned white-hot. She carved through the ship's core, felt it shudder and die, and launched herself toward the next target. Multiple bogies inbound, Protector. Vex fighter craft. I see them. She did see them. Dozens of biomechanical nightmares swarming toward her. Maya's left hand shifted, becoming something like a cannon, and she fired. The shots were precise, each one finding a target, and the Vex fighters dissolved into clouds of debris. Council Fleet Delta engaging at Mark 47, Grandpa reported. They're holding the line but taking damage. Guardian Unit 2847 is moving to support. Maya glanced at her tactical display and saw another cube like Grandpa, this one piloting itself into the fray. It positioned itself between the Council ships and the Vex, its shields absorbing punishment that would have destroyed the fleet. More Guardians arrived, streaming in from across the sector. They formed a defensive sphere around the planet, their combined shields creating a barrier that the Vex crashed against like waves on a shore. This is Guardian 3301, a voice crackled across the network, female and amused. It's been a while. Orders, Protector? Maya felt a surge of emotion. She wasn't alone. Humanity had left behind an army. Hold the defensive line. Protect the planet. I'm going for their command ship. Understood. Try not to have all the fun. Maya grinned and accelerated, burning through space toward the largest Vex vessel. It was a monstrosity, organic and mechanical in equal measure, studded with weapons that fired in every direction. Grandpa, can I survive a direct assault on that thing? Define survive. Not helpful. Your shields will hold for approximately 90 seconds under concentrated fire. After that, structural integrity becomes questionable. 90 seconds. Maya did the math. I can work with that. She angled her approach, using a destroyed Council cruiser as cover, then burst forward at full speed. The Vex command ship's weapons tracked her immediately, and space lit up with energy fire. Maya weaved and dodged, her enhanced reflexes and Grandpa's tactical guidance keeping her just ahead of annihilation. 70 seconds. 50. 30. She hit the command ship's hull and didn't slow down, her shield carving a tunnel through the structure. Inside, the ship was a nightmare of pulsing organs and twisted machinery. Maya didn't give herself time to be horrified. She just followed Grandpa's directions, cutting deeper and deeper until... Core structure ahead, Protector. Plant a charge and evacuate. I don't have any charges. You are the charge. Your armor's power core can be overloaded. It will destroy the ship. And me? I have accounted for that. You'll have approximately 4 seconds to clear the blast radius before the overload. 4 seconds. Great. Do it. Maya felt the armor's core begin to build energy, felt it becoming unstable. She activated the overload sequence and launched herself back the way she'd come, her armor's thrusters burning at maximum. 3 seconds. 2. 1. She cleared the hull just as the ship exploded from within. The blast was catastrophic, a miniature star that consumed the command vessel, and 2 others that had been too close. Maya tumbled through space, her armor's shields flickering dangerously. Grandpa? Still here, Protector. Shields at 17%, you need to fall back. Not yet. Maya looked at the remaining Vex fleet, saw them beginning to retreat. Send them a message. Let them hear it in whatever passes for their collective consciousness. Ready. Maya's voice rang out across every frequency. This is what happens when you threaten humanity's children. We're dead, but we left guardians, we left weapons. We left a promise that the galaxy would be protected. Run back to whatever hole you crawled out of and remember, you lost to us once. You'll lose to us again. Humanity. Fuck. Yeah. The profanity was perhaps unprofessional, but it felt right. The Vex fleet broke. They retreated through their dimensional tiers, and this time the Guardian network was ready. Weapons platforms fired in concert, sealing the rifts behind them with the kind of technology that made physics weep. When the last Vex ship vanished, Maya floated in space, surrounded by debris and the golden glow of Guardian units, and let herself breathe. Grandpa? Yes, Protector. Did we just win? We did, though I should note that was merely a vanguard fleet. The main swarm will return eventually. Of course it will. Maya sighed. Well, at least the Council can't say we didn't warn them. Indeed. Speaking of the Council, they're requesting your immediate return. I believe they wish to negotiate. Maya smiled inside her helmet. Oh, I bet they do. Let's go have a conversation about the future, shall we? The council chamber had been hastily repaired, though scorch marks still decorated the walls. Maya stood in the center, not as a prisoner this time, but as something the council couldn't quite categorize. Savior? Threat? Both. The armor had retracted, leaving her in her standard uniform, though Grandpa remained as a cube hovering at her shoulder. Every council member was present, and for the first time since she'd met them, none of them looked pompous. They looked tired, humbled, and more than a little terrified. The matriarch rose slowly, her crystalline features aged in a way they hadn't been hours before. Lieutenant Reeves, on behalf of the Galactic War Council, I offer our gratitude and our deepest apologies. Start with the apologies, Maya said. They're more believable. The matriarch's eyes flickered with something that might have been shame. We were wrong. To sentence you. To attempt to destroy humanity's legacy. To hide the truth about the Vex. She paused. To forget what your ancestors did for all of us. That's a good start. Maya crossed her arms. Now let's talk about what happens next. The Quarian ambassador pulsed nervously. The council recognizes your authority as protector. We defer to your expertise in military matters, particularly concerning the Vex threat. Oh, you defer now. How generous. Maya's voice dripped with sarcasm. Let me make something clear. I'm not interested in being part of your bureaucracy. I'm not going to sit in council meetings or debate trade policies or whatever it is you normally do. The Hrakan delegate clicked forward. Then what do you want? Maya glanced at Grandpa, who pulsed encouragingly. She'd been thinking about this during the flight back between dodging debris and trying not to throw up from the adrenaline crash. First, every human relic, every Guardian unit, every defense platform, they stay active. No more vaults, no more hiding our technology because you're afraid of it. The council members exchanged glances, but the matriarch nodded. Agreed. Second, I want full access to your historical archives. Everything you know about humanity's disappearance, about the Vex War, about what really happened 10,000 years ago. No redactions, no classified files. Some of those records are mine by right, Maya interrupted. Humanity's history doesn't belong to you, it belongs to their descendants, to me. Another pause, longer this time. Then the matriarch bowed her head. Agreed. Third, and this is non-negotiable, I answer to no one. I'm not your weapon. I'm not your soldier. I'm the protector, which means I protect who I choose, when I choose, how I choose. You don't give me orders. You ask nicely and maybe I'll help. The Hrakan delegate's mandibles clicked in agitation. You're asking for unlimited authority with no oversight. I'm not asking, Maya said flatly. I'm telling you how this works. You spent 2 years knowing the Vex were coming and did nothing. You tried to destroy the only weapons that could fight them. You sentenced me to death for finding something that could save you. She leaned forward. You lost the right to oversight when you chose cowardice over action. Silence filled the chamber. Finally, the matriarch spoke. There will be Political complications. Species who won't accept a human protector with such authority. Then they can take it up with the 46 Guardian units currently in orbit around their homeworlds, Maya said sweetly. Grandpa, how many planets have we positioned assets near? Approximately 73% of all Council member homeworlds and major population centers. The Council members' faces registered various degrees of alarm. When did you? The Quarian began. While you were all congratulating yourselves on being saved, Maya said. Consider it insurance. You behave, we all get along fine. You try to shut down humanity's legacy again, and those Guardians will make sure everyone knows exactly how you treated the species that died protecting you. It was a bluff, mostly. She wouldn't actually threaten civilian populations, but they didn't need to know that. The matriarch's shoulders sagged in defeat. It seems we have no choice. The Council accepts your terms, Protector Reeves. Smart decision. Maya softened slightly. Look, I'm not trying to be a tyrant. I just watched you almost doom the galaxy because you were too scared to trust 10,000-year-old technology. I need to know that won't happen again. It won't, the matriarch promised. You have our word. I'll hold you to that. Maya turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. I want a ship. A good one. I'm still a salvage runner at heart. And if there are more human relics out there, I'm going to find them. The Council will provide whatever vessel you require, the matriarch said quickly. Top of the line, equipped with, I'll pick it out myself, thanks. Just wire the funds to my account. Maya grinned. Call it hazard pay for saving your lives. She walked toward the exit, Grandpa floating beside her. Behind them, she could hear the Council members beginning to argue in hushed, frantic tones. That went well, Grandpa observed once they were in the corridor. Did it? I basically just blackmailed the entire Galactic Council. Yes, but politely. Your predecessor would have simply destroyed the council chambers and declared martial law. Maya laughed. You know, you keep mentioning this previous protector. What were they like? Grandpa was quiet for a moment. Brilliant. Brave. Absolutely insufferable. They once argued with me for 3 hours about the proper way to make coffee while we were under siege by the Vex. Sounds like my kind of person. They would have liked you, I think. You have their irreverence, their refusal to be intimidated by authority. Grandpa paused. Their courage. Maya felt a lump in her throat. I hope I can live up to that. You already have, Protector. Now we should discuss the 17 other Guardian units that have reported unusual activity in their sectors. It seems your activation of the network has drawn attention. Good or bad attention? Unclear. Some appear to be other dormant human systems waking up. Others. Grandpa's light flickered. Others might be Vex probes testing our defenses. Maya sighed. So this isn't over. It's never over, Protector. That's the nature of being a Guardian. You stand watch, you fight when necessary, and you hope that one day the threats will stop coming. And if they don't? Then you keep fighting. That's what humanity did. That's what we do in their memory. They reached the landing platform where Maya's ship, her old battered salvage runner, waited. It looked tiny compared to the Council's sleek vessels, but it was hers. Grandpa, can I ask you something? Of course. Why did humanity disappear? Really? You said your memories were corrupted, but you must have some idea. The cube pulsed slowly, thoughtfully. I have impressions, fragments. I remember the last message from High Command. The war is won. The galaxy is safe. Our children will inherit peace. And then silence. Grandpa's voice grew quiet. I think they were tired, Protector. 300 years of war against an enemy that wouldn't stop. Couldn't be reasoned with. I think they won. And then they left, hoping that their descendants would never have to fight again. Maya looked up at the stars, at the vast galaxy humanity had once protected. They left us Guardians instead. They left us hope, Grandpa corrected. The hope that if the darkness returned, their legacy would be enough to hold it back, that someone like you would stand up and fight. No pressure. You've already proven yourself worthy, Protector. Today you went from condemned prisoner to the galaxy's defender. You coordinated a battle you had no training for. You stared down the Vex and made them blink. And you did it all with the kind of sarcastic commentary that would have made your ancestors proud. Maya laughed despite herself. Is that a compliment? The highest I can offer. Humans always fought best when they refused to take things too seriously. She climbed into her ship, settling into the familiar pilot's seat. Grandpa positioned himself on the console, his light casting warm shadows across the cockpit. So what now? Maya asked. We hunt for more relics? Prepare for the Vex's return? Try to figure out what happened to humanity? All of that, eventually. But first, I recommend sleep. You've had an eventful day. Sentenced to death, bonded with ancient technology, saved the galaxy. Even protectors need rest. Sleep sounds good. Maya initiated the launch sequence. But tomorrow, we start looking for answers. If there are other Guardians out there, other pieces of humanity's legacy, I want to find them. Agreed. The galaxy is full of secrets, Protector. We have 10,000 years of history to uncover. As the ship lifted off, Maya took one last look at the council chambers below. 48 hours ago, she'd been a nobody salvage runner. Now she was something else entirely. Hey, Grandpa. Yes, Protector. Thanks for not letting them execute me. You're welcome, though technically you activated me, not the other way around. Details. Maya smiled. Still, I appreciate having a 10,000-year-old AI watching my back. And I appreciate having a protector who argues with the Galactic Council while wearing ancient armor covered in Vex blood. We make quite the team. The ship broke atmosphere, heading for open space. Behind them, the capital world receded, but Maya could still sense the Guardian units in orbit, the defense platforms humming with power, the entire network of humanity's legacy awakening across the galaxy. Somewhere out there, the Vex were regrouping. Other threats lurked in the dark, and countless mysteries waited to be solved. But for now, Maya allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. She'd survived execution, activated humanity's guardians, and thoroughly terrified the same council that had tried to kill her. Not bad for a Tuesday, she said. Grandpa's light pulsed in what might have been laughter. Indeed. Though I should warn you, your life will never be boring again. Good. Boring was killing me anyway. As they jumped to faster-than-light travel, Maya leaned back in her seat and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, new battles. But tonight she could rest knowing one thing for certain. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. One that humanity